Confronting my own form of codependency was a very painful thing, but I want to share that with you. For me, what it was all about was having people believe in me. Having a life of these types of relationships with narcissists, especially in and around work and business, even things like that, it occurred to me that I needed people to believe in me. That was the security. Because if people believed in me, then I could count on them. And for me, it also meant believing in my vision, my business ideas, and so that was something that blinded me. That when people were not doing their jobs, when people were falling behind, the anxiety started to really build, and it really contributed to amplifying my cognitive dissonance because I would hold on to the idealized version of all of these people that I had put in the future with me, that I had powerful visions of being at the SEMA show, being at the PRI show with my team in uniform, just representing the products that I had developed with everybody. And the structure of everything was impeccable. Like I really did get everything set up properly, but it was the inclusion of these types of people that was ultimately going to result in a failure of all the efforts that I had put forth. But what kept me engaged was that, I became more driven to hold it all together as things started to come apart a little bit, like trying to hold the whole team together and then having people, not fulfilling their end of the agreement, in a timely manner, and then being able to breadcrumb me with a little progress here and there is what kept me going and going and going, and just set me up for more of the same. And so a lifelong pattern of that would have me recognize that they didn't really believe. How could they believe like they said, or if they were to do what they did? And so as they would, get behind or not be performing, my inclination was to look at myself, my leadership, that there was something missing, that I wasn't conveying the message, that I could understand as the visionary, as the creative one, that these ideas were my own, and it was my ability to convey them and to get people inspired and to keep them there. And all that really did was set me up for mirroring and being scammed and taken advantage of over and over and over in my life. And so it actually reinforced itself that I needed to find the right people. I needed to inspire them. I needed to show results that, and then what would happen is, like, as one person failed, it would increase that like when this one person that was supposed to make my components ended up betraying me, I felt guilty towards the other people that were on my team because a big portion of the vision had kind of fell apart, and I felt responsible. I even felt responsible for having chosen that person, that it was my decision to include that individual that caused this problem, that I didn't see their intentions and motives. Yet the other people were the same type. And so now I'm supporting them, and there's even one that I was paying on a weekly basis just because, one of the products or two of the products weren't to market as we expected, and he was going to make additional income from that. And so I started to accumulate guilt. I started to feel culpable, liable, that this was all, somehow related to me and my ability as a leader. When in reality, it was true that it was my failure as a leader, but it was because of the black and white of accountability, that these people in retrospect could all have been let go most immediately. That it wouldn't really take a long period of time to discover that they weren't who they said they were. They weren't going to be able to do the things that they had signed on for, or just weren't doing it, or weren't truly willing. And so as I would come back to the meeting table, so to speak, it's like we would kept pushing the restart. I would talk about, hey, we try to figure out what's going on, and it would be re-mirrored, refocused, we're all committed, we're going. And it wasn't true. And so that's what happened to me for the first time in my life. Like, my cognitive dissonance bubble broke in February, and I discovered NPD, you know, as a thing, as a phenomenon, as something that I never understood or seen before, that there was something about these people in my life that made them different, that I had them all backwards. It was a very scary thing, a very, very scary, dark place to wake up to the realization that my mind had deceived me, that I did not know these people, I was wrong about them, and it wasn't just that I was a little off, I was 180 degrees off. And I had this thought, how can I continue? How can I make it in this life? How am I going to have any shot when people are this way and I didn't know? That I couldn't trust my own judgment. That I did everything in my mind that was humanly possible to make all of this work, only to have it fail again. But also to recognize that there was something wrong with me. Like, something fundamentally wrong with my mind, that how could I be so delusional? How could I mess up so bad? How could I make such a tremendous judgment error, and not just once, but unanimously throughout my life, that I had relived this scenario and it only got bigger and bigger each time that I gave it a shot. And this seemed to be my last shot. This seemed to be, it for me. And I put everything I had, And so fast forward to 3-4 weeks ago to get diagnosed with ADHD, it made everything kind of clear. That not only was I trying to make people believe, I was trying to operate in ways to prove myself as normal, that I could make it. And attaching myself to this effort to fix myself, to overcome these other areas of deficiency, places where I wasn't as strong. And I became more aware of that, that when I discovered I was creative and how free and easy that was compared to, trying to manage all these different projects and things, I knew that I had to transition into that. And that acknowledgement of this need to restructure my life to cater to my gifts was also something that created the codependency around the skills of others, that I've always been trying to bring people in to stabilize my life, to fulfill various roles and things that I could see as challenging or difficult. And that perceived need is also what kept me attached. And when I look at it, all the red flags were in my face. That's the difficult part, is that on some level I knew better. I just wasn't willing to confront the truth, that the truth would break everything apart, that if they weren't the people I need them to be, then nothing that I wanted would ever be possible. Because to me, these narcissistic people was all I knew. And so it was like, knew I was always different. And that knowledge of difference came from a childhood with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and being separated from the other students, being put through sort of like special education programs where I learned that I was deficient in some way, that there was something missing or wrong or broken or incomplete about me. A sense of self that I was always trying to overcome, hide, disprove. And so that notion of self also compounded itself within this, need to garner the support of others and have them believe in me. And then as well as having, the results of unmitigated, undiagnosed attention deficit. I didn't see all of that. So now I see it all, and it's like, wow. I'm so grateful for that, and that's why I come here and share. But, still got a lot of challenge. But I just want to take a moment to share that.